Nishine Lure Works SmeltHeads. So it's a swim bait head. I'll come around after and show you, but these are some of the best swim bait heads I've ever used. Everybody's used to using football heads, ball heads, but when these came out on the market, I sat there, I grabbed a couple packs. You're always skeptical to try new things. As soon as we started throwing them, they were instantly getting smashed. Now I'm a smallmouth fisherman. I also fish trout in the off season. These things have really changed the swim bait game for me. So right now I have an 8 ounce on. Do any of you know what live scope is? Okay. So live scoping, this changed a lot of stuff for us live scoping. Right now there's a technique called hover shotting, and what that is essentially keeping the bait up real high to suspender fish. So he makes 3 sizes. He's got an 8 ounce, a 2 7th ounce, which is just roughly about a 1/4 ounce, and a 3 7ths, just over 3/8, and a 5/8. They also just released, and Hiroshi's right behind you there, he released a SmeltHead Plus. He's got a 3/4, a 1 ounce, and a 1.5 ounce for all lake trout fishermen and deep water fishermen. 80, 100 feet, huge beefy hook. One thing that I like to do with this is kind of just let it pendulum down the palm. And you can see, it gives the bait a lot of natural action as well. And I hope you guys can see that. I hope it's swimming right. It's swimming on an angle. It should be swimming on an angle. That's one thing that separates this head from a lot of other heads in the market. Because of that angle, I'm able to actually keep it up in the column and have it more of a natural action falling through the column. And as you can see, I'm not even really doing anything. Hopefully he didn't hook himself and rolled everything over, but literally just swinging that in front of him. So all these finicky smallmouth now that are out in the, you see them on the Bassmaster Elites, they're all throwing up, they're out in the middle of the water, 80, 100 feet. 10, 15, 20 feet onto the surface. This has really changed the game for that. Just flip out and tight line it all the way down. So when I'm seeing those fish on live scope, all I'm doing is casting out and just trying to keep it above their head. Another thing that this works really well for, and I'll get the heavier weight out to show you, is when it's on bottom, because it swims naturally on an angle, it comes over rock really well. So a lot of my rods are tailored 7/6 mediums for this kind of application, but this is the 2 7ths, so it's roughly about a 1/4. It's a little bit heavier than that, but as you can see, it comes through cover really, really nicely. And again, it still should be. I'm hoping, I don't got a great angle on it, but it should be pulling over top of everything because of the angle. So the head makes contact first with any obstacle underneath the water and pulls nicely over top. So I actually like using this in a little deeper water. I've used this up to 35, 40 feet on really flat calm days, but I can also fish it as fast as I need to and keep it up real high, 4, 5, 6 feet of water. When those fish are starting to go super, super fast in their summer pattern, I need to keep it up a little higher with a heavier weight and faster. I go to the 2 7ths. I've got a 2.8 swim bait on here, and again, when it crawls through cover, it's insanely nice because again, it's on that angle. It's not going to bump anything. It's not going to snag up. You can see they're just going absolutely nuts for it. Now I do have a little swap here. What I like to do when I'm fishing super deep water, I'm fishing really aggressive fish, or if I'm jigging for walleye or trout, I go to a heavier weight. So this here, I can actually show you guys, and his booth is just over here. He's got a 5/8 size. Now I got a 3.8 swim bait on here. And I like to throw this on a casting rod. Oh, I really didn't bend the hook out on the shoe. So I gotta be careful. But again, you can see it's really exaggerated how it swims on that angle. It gives a lot of action to the back end of the bait. Now this hook size is a 2/0. He also makes a 4/0, and then the 8 ounce he makes a size 1. Very stout hook. They used to be owners and they used to be Gamakatsu. Now Hiroshi has come up with his own hook. And that's what we use in the SmeltHead. And again, you can see it swimming on an angle. And I'm able to keep that crawling over cover or crawling over high water. And it's just going to swim nice and natural. Another thing too, if you're standing up where I am, you're going to get a lot of shimmy on the bait. So not only is it swimming on an angle, now it's swimming side to side. It's giving a lot more action to the body. body of that bait, and that's going to translate to more bites.
At least I got a good view.
Now,
Future boy.
another good technique a lot of people have found out through the Bassmaster Classic, if anybody who watched Jeff Gustafson, Demiki rigging. These heads are very, very good for Demiki rigging. And for those of you that don't know what Demiki rigging is, I'll show you here quickly. It's essentially where you come up over the fish. They call it moping as well. But one of the key things you have to have here is you got the 90-degree hook guide. You got to make sure your line is 90 degrees. And you literally go over top of fish and you just hang it. When you pull that line straight through the hook guide, because it's 90 degrees, it's going to allow you to keep that bait super straight to forward. Now, Demiki rigging is or moping is a really weird technique because you actually don't have to impart a lot of action on the bait itself because it's a cold water technique. So these fish will come up from the bottom, 5-10 feet off bottom, and eat that bait. This is another great head for that style of fishing. Now, if you head over to the Nishine booth after this, he's got the 3/4, the 1 ounce, and the 1.5 ounce. He added an underspin on the bottom of this. So for anybody that likes throwing underspins for murky water fish or lake trout, pike, whatever you have it, for those heavier weights, he now has an attachment blade for the underspin. I actually have one of my own 3/4 here if you guys do want to see it after. Beef the hook up in those as well. Comes in a 4/0. And it fits all sizes of swim bait. Mainly for me, I like throwing a 5 or 6 inch on that, and it fits it real nice because again, a lot of action. It stayed true too with the heavy sizes. It stays true. It swims, tracks nice, and again, pulls through cover awesome. My fish getting 45, 50 feet of water on bottom on rock, and able to pull it through real nicely without getting snagged. My setups, again, I like to use super long rods for this. I gotta get it's made way away from the boat and try and get these finicky smallmouth to go. So I'm running at the 7/6 medium. I got a 7/6 medium, and my other casting rod is a medium heavy for the 5/8. Does anybody have any questions about it? Okay, so I wanted to show you one other thing. It's gonna take me 2 minutes to grab and tie on. So give me 1 second. I got it right here.
What's that?
All right, so it's going to take me 2 seconds to tie it on, but again, he's got them at the booth. I have one here. It's a finesse jig, finesse football jig. Now, for me, this has been a real sleeper bait for me for smallmouth. Anywhere from 5 feet of water all the way up to 50 feet of water. It's really, really unique in the sense that it actually doesn't have a weed guard on it, so it makes it real nice for fishing open water cover. I use it a lot on sand, mud, weed transitions. And that might sound counterproductive without a weed guard, but if it's sparse weed, it makes the pull through real, real nice. Got an awesome hook keeper on it. I'm just going to bend the hook over and I'll show you how it crawls through. So this is something that I didn't know if I was going to show because it's been so productive for me. But for smallmouth in particular, when they get super finicky and they're not eating your typical net rigs, your tubes, I switch over to this. Right now I have a black and blue. And it comes in green pumpkin, there's a smoke color, and there's one other, I forget the other color, it's like a fire craw, copper craw color. I usually stick to green pumpkins and the smoke colors, that's just more of a natural color for me. But you can throw any sort of swim bait size on it. Right now I have the 2.8s, but generally I like to stick in that 3.3 to 3.8 range. Gives you just a little bit more body size for the smallmouth. So again, this is the 1/2 ounce model. Makes it in a 5/8 as well. But you can see it pulls real nicely on bottom, and that tail, again, I can't see it from here, but that tail should be sticking up. And look at that. And you don't gotta pull a lot of action. The live rubber on it is insane. And I'm barely moving it. I'm not even moving it now.
Wow, fish
Comes over
reacting.
cover real nice. And again, just something that triggers those. Oh, you can get the tail off. That's great. Yeah, just again, something that's super finessey, like a finesse jig that, again, not a lot of people throw, or at least where I am, not a lot of people are throwing finesse jigs for smallmouth. And this is something, again, I can fish in 5 feet of water, or I can fish in 50 feet of water. And same thing, you can reel it. A lot of times I'm reeling it, so what I'll end up doing is I'll cast it out, let it hit the bottom, and I just slow reel it on the bottom. With that swim bait tail, it's gonna kick real nice. That rubber's gonna billow every single time I stop the bait, every single time I hit cover. And the other way is when it's super cold, I'll work it like a typical jig or a Ned rig. I'll cast it out, let it hit bottom, and I'll just slow creep it. Pop it over the cover, work it through, let it sit, shake it on the spot. Hopefully I can get another one to go here. I guess that tail was making it go, but that's something that I also love to throw. So if you guys are kicking around, you guys want to see more of these products, Nishine's literally right here. He has every one of the products there. He's also got jerk baits and crank baits. And again, check out the SmeltHead Plus. It was introduced this year. Actually, it was introduced last year, but just brought it to the market this year. 3/4, 1 ounce, 1.5 ounces.
Bro, I thought we were getting
What is this?
small pack.